Hi, folks. This is Jay. Hope you're okay today. It's good to see you. I just want to share a few thoughts about atheism. Um, the question is, what is the greatest argument that atheists have ever used against Christianity? And basically, there aren't any great arguments from atheists. Atheism is just not impressive whatsoever. I've never ever found atheism as a argument, or as a philosophy, or as an anti-ism as convincing or impressive whatsoever. It's never been impressive to me. Never has and never will. That's not to say I don't like reading about atheists of the past. I like reading like Bertrand Russell or someone like that, or Nietzsche, but I've never ever really found atheism impressive. I've always found atheism very narrow-minded. Very narrow-minded, and it's laughable because the rhetoric is always constantly saying that the creationists are the narrow-minded ones, but yet actually it's the atheist. And if you look at the history of atheism, basically the understanding of Christianity is one of prejudice. Take for example Spinoza. He's not an atheist, he was a pantheist, but the kind of skeptical influence of a Spinoza is what affects a lot of the atheism we see today. And Spinoza has a kind of attitude towards those who are religious as if they're kind of like just people who want to follow a crowd. And if you look at David Hume, he has the same understanding of what religion is. It's just a load of turkeys being put in a turkey pen and told what to do, and everybody wants to follow whatever the power structures are telling them. And that's the kind of thing that Marx said as well. So there's this kind of deep-seated prejudice that everybody who follows this religion, Christianity, is kind of like just put the brains in the back pocket and just is unthinking and just has a herd mentality. And there is an element of truth in that there will be some people like that. But, you know, it's not a theory that encompasses all the data of what Christians are like. So, for example, you have people like Jonathan Edwards, one of the great philosophers of America, who was a Christian and abreast in his time of the philosophical movements of his day, yet chose to be a Christian, chose to do theology. You have people like Faraday, a scientist who was a scientist yet was a Christian. You have people like Rembrandt who were certainly influenced by Christianity in the art and whatever you, and not kind of like these people who weren't thinking, weren't cultured. Take Francis Schaeffer, a Christian apologist. He was well read in history, philosophy, sciences, the whole cross section of disciplines. And the idea that there are these, like, all Christians like just put their brains in their back pocket and don't think, is just sheer prejudice. So I've always thought atheism was narrow-minded, very lacking real culture in its critique of religion, because it just homes in on the obvious and the prejudice. And you could see that in modern atheism today. I mean, since 9/11 you can see the tremendous prejudice that has spewed out from this modern atheist movement, which does not use any of the scholarship apparatus to critique religion whatsoever, but pushes it one side and has its own crass rhetorical critique of religion, which anybody in the field knows is pretty diabolical scholarship. But those who have not read widely or as aware of the scholarship read these kind of thinkers, new atheist thinkers, and listen to the diatribe of verbiage that comes from these modern atheists on these silly websites and silly, stupid YouTube programs that they make. Yeah, what is the greatest argument from the atheists? They haven't got any. What they've got is prejudice and shallow scholarship. That's what I found. That's what I found, folks. So I've never been impressed with atheism. Never really been impressed with atheism. I don't think it is even a viable option on the mist of the world stage of meta-narratives. It is not a viable option. Materialism will never satisfy. The idea that all we have is the material is never enough to satisfy civilization. Civilization has to have a purpose. It has to have a spiritual dimension. So a materialistic philosophy that comes from atheism is not going to cut the mustard whatsoever. And I could go on and on and on and tell you all sorts of things about this. Yeah, so I would say that atheism has never been impressive to me. I have enjoyed reading Nietzsche. He is a character, and I've enjoyed reading Bertrand Russell, and there's some atheist thinkers that do make you think, and I do listen to them, and I do appreciate them. And I do respect atheists, and I do respect atheism. I have a big issue, a tremendous big issue, with militant atheism. The atheism spouted by a Dawkins or a Hitchens or anybody like that. I've got a massive problem with that, because I think a lot of that's hate mongering. But I've got a lot of respect for atheists and atheism, but I've got zero tolerance really for this militant atheism. Those are my thoughts. Thank you.